Hey Brick Bloggeteers, Will here, and today we're going to look at set 43227, Villain Icons. Now this was a very pricey set at $130, considering you only got 4 minifigures and some models. So is it worth it? Well, let's start with a interesting build. Captain Hook's pocket watch. Now, at first, I thought this was the White Rabbit's pocket watch. I don't know why. I think I just saw the playing card and figured, it's Alice in Wonderland. But there is printing on the face of the clock featuring Peter Pan, Wendy, John, and Peter. And what really solidifies it is the back, which they actually don't really show, and it's Captain Hook's hook. It also has this interesting top piece, which is a basically a key ring element that can be opened up so that if you do want to hook it onto a chain or some sort of string, you can, and then you can close it back up and it locks in place. All right, next up, I believe, is the poison apple. Now on one side is the regular apple, on the other side is the green evil poison. And this is for the first time we get a hidden compartment. Inside is the evil queen from Snow White. There is just enough room in there for her poison apple, but she can't hold it because they're working with very little space, as you can see, so they barely carved enough room in for her. One thing I do like about this set is the top stem section. It uses a black hot dog piece. It's also built at a strange angle, so that if you really want to hold up the apple right, you have to hold it more at an angle, just to add a little extra building, I guess, technique in there to match up all the various slopes. All right, now we need a little break, so we'll do something simple, the playing card. Now all 3 of these tiles, there's a 2x6, a 6x6, and a 2x6 on here. All 3 of these are printed. And of course, if you turn it the other way, you get a different expression for the Red Queen. Now the back of the card isn't anything special. It's simple plates to keep the card only 2 plates thick. So there is our Alice in Wonderland. Now we move on to the main part of the model, where we have 3 books. Aladdin, featuring Jafar, Beauty and the Beast, featuring Gaston, and Sleeping Beauty, featuring Maleficent. As well as the VHS tape, featuring Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Now let me remove the Little Mermaid one. Now this one has sockets and ball joints to help hold it in place, so you don't have to worry about it just falling off anywhere. The nice thing I like about the Aladdin book with Jafar's brick sketch and Sleeping Beauty with Maleficent's brick sketch, those were nice additions onto, throwing in over the top to make them look a little bit prettier. Now the Sleeping Beauty tile, this giant 6 oval tile, is all printed. And then on the edges, the silvery 100 Disney on the Sleeping Beauty and the Aladdin books, those are also printed. Everything else you see that has Aladdin, Jafar's picture, Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, and Maleficent, those are all stickers. Now these also feature some hidden compartments. So for the Aladdin book, you open up the top half, and we get Jafar in genie form. He even comes with a little lamp that he can stand on. This is nothing parts that we haven't seen before, but a new printing of these components. As for Beauty and the Beast, it has 2 hidden compartments. The top one swivels open, and it is the magical apple that basically keeps track of the curse for the Beast. Now, it is only held in place by some pins, one of them being a friction pin, so it is kind of a loose mechanism, so you have to carefully hold it up and watch it. Now the second compartment is a drawer compartment featuring Gaston, one of my favorite Disney villains, and I'm so glad to see him in brick form. All right, Now for Sleeping Beauty. This is actually one of the hardest compartments to open because it's so tightly sandwiched in place, but that's where Maleficent resides. The instructions have her not holding her staff and instead having her just behind it. But I found the compartment's big enough that she can just hold on to it, and I'll just leave it that way. Now, as for how the books are built, you can actually see it with Sleeping Beauty, where essentially they're a frame that goes all the way around. The binding of the book just gets attached with snot bricks with the plates and tiles. And then the pages, they're actually clipped in to the side of the frame using simple clips and bars. Now the bars are the special like 1x2 brick with like hollow section in. They're a fairly new piece, so it's neat to see them being used in a fairly new technique. Now the Beauty and the Beast book is actually built into Aladdin's book. This allows for a very sturdy structure so that the model can double as a bookend. All right, then comes the tape. Now, I thought this was going to be one of the most boring builds, but it happens to be one of the more complex builds because they have to get the reels looking right, as well as the windows and the reels showing up in there. And it has a hidden compartment itself under the flap. Now, the stickers that show the scenes, those are all stickers, as well as the front with Ursula. And Ursula is actually on a inverted tile I've never seen before. It's like a 4x8, and it has studs all around the edges, but not in the middle. So it's kind of a neat looking piece. But this whole model has studs going in every direction. Primarily, it's built in two halves, with the top being on this side and the top being on this side, and the bottoms coming together in the middle and then getting all seamed together. It was actually the most challenging build because it also has a number of loose elements that just kind of rest in there, like these back reels. They just kind of rest in between all these brick arches. And it also did an interesting thing. Behind the reels are these giant opaque panels that go into window frames, but there's no window frame. They just kind of slide in place and then are just held in place by all the bricks that are around them. So thankfully, with those being locked into a ball joints, they're not going to go anywhere. The problem is the smaller three models. The apple and the card are held on by jumpers on the face of the books. The card is usually fine because it's a flat design. The apple is a very heavy, dense design, so it can't really be held on by a single stud that easily. If you move it just enough, it will just tip off. So be very careful when it comes to, putting the apple on, because it's not a really secure model. In fact, I just knock it off. But it's meant to kind of look like that. And then this is going to be a loose piece, the clock. So just artfully put it however you like. And because it looks good 360 degrees, you can put it in the middle of a coffee table and it'll look perfectly fine, or on a bookcase in case you actually do want to use it as a bookend. So $130 does get you a very interesting build experience, something that looks nice, maybe not have the greatest play potential, so definitely not for kids, and it gets you 4 unique minifigures that are unique to this set.